This is Lee with 82 Game 12, and this will be video 6 over Glory and Empire, First Victories. And we are playing through the assault on the Western Ridge module. It's a what if scenario. When we stopped in the last video, we had finished up the movement, and one of the things I wanted to point out was something that I had missed in the rules concerning skirmishers and so forth. So with skirmishers, you've got this skirmish zones for skirmishers, which means that they can perform reaction fire. Now, if we go over here to 7.6.7, fire combat, units with a skirmish marker may make one fire attack against one stack within its skirmish zone. And that's something that I missed. So when a unit moves into that skirmish zone, you're only allowed one fire on that unit. So you have a unit that comes in, okay, and just a regular skirmisher comes in to this green area here. You're not able to fire at them as they move through both of these hexes or enter both of these hexes. You're just able to fire at them once as they move through or into your fire zone. And I've been doing it where they got to fire, multiple times for each move. So that's not what the rules say. So I needed to correct that. And of course, a rifle armed unit can fire all the way out to 3 hexes, okay? But again, they're not able to make multiple fire attacks on the same unit. So that's just something I wanted to point out that I know I did, I had been doing during this scenario. Surprised someone in the comments didn't point that out. So that's something that is kind of important to know concerning fire combat. And so I needed to point that out. Okay, so we're going to have some cavalry attacks, some cavalry charges. We've got several units here that we'll be charging. I've got them marked with charge markers here, here, and here. And so we're going to get an example of charges. Something else that I failed to do is to put out skirmishers. All of these British units have the capability of throwing out skirmishers. They've got a one here on their counter, okay, a smaller numeral beside their both sides are going to have to throw out their skirmishers when they get the opportunity. And the French no longer have that opportunity. They've already moved. So let's go over here to the charge area here of the map where we're going to have some charges. And Here I'm pulling some information from David Gates' The Spanish Ulcer, A History of the Peninsula War. And this is a De Capo publishing. Okay. And I'm just going to be reading from here. A cavalry regiment, right here, would consist of several squadrons of around 100 troopers each. Regiments combined to form cavalry brigades and divisions, which usually had batteries of horse artillery in attendance. The cavalry corps seen in Napoleon's other theaters was almost unheard of in the peninsula, such massed horse formation being irrelevant to the type of warfare encountered. Mounted troops were further classified as light, medium, or heavy cavalry, depending on their function. Light cavalry were the hussars, chasseurs, and lancers, were essentially intended for reconnaissance, screening, and pursuit, but also filled a role on the battlefield. Medium cavalry were invariably dragoons and were capable of shot action against enemy soldiers who had been weakened by infantry and artillery attacks. Dragoons were, in theory, trained foot troops as well as horsemen, but only the French units seemed to have had any real skill as infantrymen. Genuine heavy cavalry were rarely seen in the imperial armies in the peninsula, the famous cuirassiers and carabiners staying on the Eastern European front. However, the British employed several regiments which, although unarmored, were deemed heavy cavalry, and the French utilized large numbers of heavy dragoons in numerous spectacular actions such as Ocana. So, and then over here we've got talks about the deployment. So up here at the top, the classic mode of assault for a cavalry regiment was by successive squadrons. Each squadron formed in two lines with the troopers riding boot to boot. Thus, a regiment of 4 squadrons would attack in 8 lines, one behind the other. Each line would have a frontage of between 40 and 50 men. However, on suitable terrain and with sufficient space, a regiment might charge with all its squadrons in a line abreast. So this shows a regiment of 4 squadrons deployed in Colony Sarri. Intervals between the squadrons would be at least 12 meters. So, and here's they're in echelon. So, okay. All right. So with this unit here, we'll start with this unit right here. Okay. And see, we're closing in on this. You can actually wait until you are, right on top of a unit before you could declare, who you're attacking. Okay. And so I'm going to leave the charge marker here so I know where the unit actually charged from. So the other thing is we have reaction with this unit now charging. Units can perform reaction formation changes. And so some of these units are going to want to go to square. Okay. There it is. Okay, so here we have the reaction formation change disorder check. Okay, and so we go down here to hexes to triggering stack. If it's 3 hexes, it's 0. 2 hexes, it's minus 15. 1 hex is minus 30. So they're going to try. They've got to be, the unit has to be within 3 hexes. Okay, of the unit that's causing the reaction. So 1, 2, 3. So that's not going to be any detriment to the die roll here. So that unit is at 37. So that's what they've got to roll higher then. So that's a 70. So they passed. This unit here, they rolled a 14. They did not pass, so they become disordered. Okay, and then we go over here to this unit here. A 40. Okay, they passed. Okay, this one here. Ooh, only a 7, so they failed. And let's see, 1, 2, 3, they're too far away. 1, 2, 3, they're too far away. Okay. So now, after that, oh, that one passed, so that kind of lets the cavalry unit know which unit they're going to attack. You want to attack a unit that is, of course, morale has been affected. So, okay, so they're going to move to here, and this unit can fire 1, 2, 3, and he can only fire once. So we've got the reaction fire. He can only fire at T-bolt in this cavalry unit here one time during their movement through their zone, reaction zone. So they're going to have, I guess that would be considered in their flank. They've got a strength of 2. Use the red one. Strength of 2. Firing at cavalry is +1. Fired through a flank or enfilade, that's +2. So that's 3 more. So we're actually getting we're firing at a strength of 5. So 42 at 5. Look here. Strength of 5. We rolled a 42. So that's less than 50. So we bump up here, which is going to be morale. We just checked morale. Okay. So the French have to check their morale. So T-bolt is going to lower, let's see, raise the dice by 3. 45 plus 3 is 48, so they passed. Okay. Now this is where it would be helpful if they had more skirmishers out, because each one of those skirmishers would be able to fire on this cavalry unit. So All right, so that was 1, and then we go here, that's 2. Okay. And so now this is the target. Okay. This artillery unit here, not going to be able to do anything. One thing is they're outside of their fire zone. Okay. Fire arc. But the other thing is, if we put this down, see it goes there, fire arc goes there. So this unit is outside. The other thing is reaction zone for artillery is just their front hexes. So all right, so let's go through the charge process here. We don't have an empty target hex. We don't have units that are going to be retreating before combat. And so the defender has to check his morale. All right, so now we go to morale check. And the charge unit CMV is 2. So we multiply that by -5, so we got a -10. Plus we have -5 from being disordered. So we got a total of -15 on the morale. Rolled a 53. And we've got to subtract 15. So that's going to be 38. So they passed their morale check. So the next thing we have is remove any skirmishers. We don't have any there. And we have a defensive fire. Okay, so now we go to defensive fire. And they have fire strength of 5, -1. So it goes to 4 because they're disordered. Okay. Now, well-directed fire, they passed their morale check. So that's +2. So now they're up to 6. The target is cavalry. Now they're up to 7. Okay. So a strength of 7, and they rolled an 8. Oh, with a strength of 7, 8 is a morale check. All right, so again, the morale check, we've got T-Bolt, who's going to add 3 to the die. And we've got a 15. 3 is 18. They're going to fail, so they're going to be disordered. Okay. All right, we go to terrain. There's no effect there. Then we go to cold steel. All right. So the attacker has a CV of 2, Leader has 1, so they're up to 3. They lose 1 here because of being disordered. Okay. They also, the odds are even, 5 to 5. So that's not going to affect anything. Charge distance. So they get a +1 for charging through open terrain. So 3, so they're at 2. That goes back up to 3. Okay. All right, so that's where their CV is. Okay, the British player or unit has a 1 and then a -1 here. I don't know that the charging unit, let's go over here, if they get a +1 for each hex, open hex that they charge through, that just, it's giving them momentum. Okay, it says for each open hex cavalry enters, it's a +1. So it's for each hex. So they were here. So that's 1, 2. They entered 2 hexes. So now this goes to 4. Okay, so they have 4. The French unit is going to end up having 0. All right, so let's roll 2 dice and see what we get. All right, so the French rolled a 1, and the British rolled a 0. Okay, so the 0, okay, and then this becomes a 5. So the French are going to win this combat, this cold steel. The British player, okay, has to reduce their morale by 2 steps. So they're going to be broken. When a unit's broken, they've got to retreat 3 hexes. So one, 2, 3. All right. Now, concerning the losses, okay, with a 0 through 9, there's going to be no step losses. You have to get above a 9. So no step losses. Of course, this unit has to move into here. Okay. But as they do, they get fired on from this unit and square. So, okay, they're firing with a strength of 1. They're firing against cavalry, and they're firing into their flank. So that's 1 plus 1 plus 2 more. So that's a strength of 4. 52. Strength of 4 is going to be a morale check. 4 and 52. 52 is less than 60. We move up here, so it's a morale check. And again, of course, the French unit here has 35. We have -5 for being disordered, +3, so it's going to be a -2 to the die. 50 becomes a 48, so they passed. Now this unit has to roll for recall, or they can just chase, pursue. And with the pursuit, well, they've got to roll first to see if they can recall. Because they don't want to pursue and get involved in things here. Which they could. Let's see. This is outside their charge zone. So that's why you would want to like adjust your charge to put your charge where you decide to start your charge so that you could charge further through. Like you could go through a unit and charge units that are further behind. This is a cavalry unit in their charge is only allowed to move three hexes. So they can attack a unit that's 4 hexes away. So this unit here, of course, is too far away. Here's where they started their charge. 1, 2, 3, 4. They'd have to go 4 hexes. They're not allowed to do that. So they're going to try to do a recall. If not, they're going to have to pursue. But they won't be able to do a follow-on charge. Is what I'm saying. Okay, so their recall is their morale, of course, and they're disrupted. Leader is going to add 3, so we subtract 5. It's going to be subtract 2. 92, so they can recall. And they recall, they're going to regroup, which means they get to move back 3 hexes. But as they do that, they can get fired on. Okay. So when they move Well, they can move to there. But then as they move out of this hex, move this back here. As they move out of this hex, they can get fired on from that unit, from this unit here. You know, I was thinking this artillery unit might have been able to turn to fire, reaction-wise. They could have turned as this unit entered here. That's part of their reaction when they do a react. They can react. So if we go to reaction fire, let's see here. Let's see if it says anything about that. I know you're able to do it prior to the fire segment, or during the fire segment. You can. Let's see if I can. Let's see here. Let me go back up here to where it talks about facing and so forth. So it says, artillery may change its facing 30 degrees just before it conducts a fire attack. That is, it may change its facing from a hex vertex to an adjacent hex side, or hex side to adjacent hex vertex, just prior to making a fire attack. It may do this any number of times in a turn. So, all right, so this unit fired. Now this artillery unit, who can change its facing, but even if it changes facing, let's see, I don't think, yeah, it could change it to there, but that's still not going to put this in its front zone. And when it's facing a hex side, okay, this is its, okay, so it still wouldn't be able. It still wouldn't be able, okay, but now it's in its front hex. Let's see. Let me go back over here and make sure. Facing for artillery. All right, so they wouldn't be able to Well, I guess as this unit was moving, it could have changed its facing. But as this unit decides to leave, it would be able to change again. And now it can fire on this unit who's leaving. Just like these guys can now fire on them as they're leaving. Okay, so this artillery unit has a strength of 1. Okay, and they're firing right here. Okay, now that's canister range. So that's +3. The target is cavalry, and it's into their flank. So we've got +3 plus 1 more is 4, plus 2 more is 6, plus their 1 is 7. So, pretty dangerous. 67. Okay, that's going to be a morale -10. Okay, so we know their morale is 30, I think it's 36 or something like that. 35. So what they're doing is they're turned like so to regroup. So it's 35. Disordered, leader adds 3, so it's a -2 to their die roll. They rolled a 72, so they passed. So now this unit here gets to fire. Okay. They have a strength of 1. Firing into cavalry is +1, so now they're at 2. And then into their flank, +2 more is 4. 54. This is just a regular morale check. And a 12 -2 is a 10. So they're going to be shaken. So they're forced to move to here. And they get their 2 spent markers. I don't know if they're able to continue their regroup. I guess they could still move 3 away. If they just get stopped right there, I guess they would be stopped. All right. So right, so okay, they're charging. So they go 1, which is going to cause them to be disordered. One, we could actually fire, this unit could fire. They've got the red rifled box there. They're going to wait, they're going to actually wait for them to go there. And then we have the reaction fire from this unit. Okay. Strength of 2, firing on cavalry is +1. Ooh, an 84. So 3 with 84 is going to be a morale hit -10. Okay, or a morale check. Okay, so -10 +3, so we've got a -7. 64 becomes 77. They passed. Okay. And then these guys are going to have to go somewhere. These guys. Yeah, he'll just jump in here. Well, he can jump past them, but he becomes disordered. These guys could roll for square again. No, they can't. They can't be disordered to try to get into square, so they're stuck. These guys could roll for square. All right, and they're, let's see, 1, 2, 3 hexes away. So just their morale. 55, they passed. This unit here where heal's at, they could go to square as well. And they get a +5. I think they'll just hold their ground. All right, and then this unit here is going to go right here. So that's the 1, 2, 3. That's as far as they can go in their charge zone. And their target is this disordered unit here. Okay. We check morale. Charging units CVM is 2. So that's going to be -10. Plus, we've got -5 for being disordered. -15. I rolled a 13. So they will become shaken. All right, defensive fire. It's going to be -1 to their fire strength because they're shaken. Strength of 5 becomes 4. Firing against our cavalry is going to be back to 5. So we've got a strength of 5. 68. Okay, it's morale check -10. So -10 plus 3 is -7. 91, or no, 97 becomes a 90, so they passed. Terrain. This is where they cross that hexite obstacle. So they go to disorder prior to the combat. Okay. And cold steel now. All right, so the French, 2 here, 2 there. That's 4. Okay. So they've got 4, but -1 because they're disordered. So they've got 4. Now they're down to 3. They do not get the clear hex charge bonus because they crossed a hexite. So odds are 5 to 5, so that's even. All right, so they've got 3. And the defender has got 0. 0. And they're shaken, so that's -3. Wow. They've got -3. All right, we got a 9 here, and we got a 0 over here. So if the British had a leader in that hex, he would have been a casualty because we have the 9. Okay, but we don't. So, all right, so they're going to have to drop 2 morales down to rout. So they go to broken, and then they go to rout. Oh, this is over here. There it is. Losses, 13, no, 12. Okay, so the British take 1 loss. The French don't take any. And they have to retreat 3. Okay. Take a loss. We flip them over. 1, 2, 3. And of course, they have to move in here. Okay, and as they do, they get fired on from this unit and this unit. Okay, so we'll go with this one here that's in the square first. So, okay, so strength of 1, +1 for cavalry, +2 for in the flank. So 4. 69. 4. That's going to be a morale -10. 88. So that'd be -15 +3 is -12. They passed. Okay. So now we have this unit here get to fire on here. Now they're disordered, so they've got a -1. In skirmisher mode, they're +2 or 2, so that's down to 1. Fire and cavalry is +1, so they're at 2. Ooh, a 91 at 2. It's gonna be a morale -10. -15 +3 is -12. 33, they're gonna fail. So here they're going to become shaken, and they're forced to retreat 1 hex. So they go to there. And that's it. They do get their spent markers. And they're shaken. I don't know. I'm not for sure if they can still go ahead and retreat or regroup. Normally, if you become shaken, you retreat 1 hex and you're done. So let me look here. Okay, both attacker and defender cavalry that were not eliminated were forced to retreat. So they were forced to retreat. So before they could roll for pursuit or anything like that. So that's where both of those units are at. All right, so now let's go to the last charge that we have. And I think he's going to be unable to charge anyone. He's too far away. If he was to charge here, these guys got in the way. 1, 2, 3. He was going to go right there and charge here. Now he's got to go 1, 2, 3, and that's as far as he can go. So he's still going to have to carry out his charge. So he goes 1, 2. And here you can get fired on. 1, 2, 3. Reaction fire from this unit. Okay, right here. All right, so with that reaction fire, strength of 3, firing at cavalry. So that's +1. 57. Okay, 57. That's going to be a morale, just a regular morale check. 42 passed. And he goes to there. This guy here would, of course, pass through here, become disordered, and of course these guys, I believe, would have to roll for morale. So that one there. Yeah, I believe we have to pass. You pass through. Let's see here. Yeah, where's the morale checks at? There's got to be something here. If you have Okay, so combat units that retreat may temporarily that's regular retreat though. Okay, so broken or routed units that retreat to a friendly hit causes stationary units to take a morale check. Okay, so that unit was just disordered. All right, so that's what I was looking for. That's under retreat 9.2.1. So, all right, so this unit here can regroup just by moving back 3 hexes. They become disordered. And I guess they still become spent. I mean, they did charge. So 1, 2, 3, they can come right back to here. And they're disordered. All right, I think I did that correctly. Might be some other things, maybe that I didn't get that right, but you know, you got to pay attention to all the rules that are involved when you're talking about cavalry charges, and not only cavalry charges, but assaults as well. And in the next video, of course, we're going to have assaults. We've got assaults all right in through here, and we've got one here. So, and with these skirmishers, they're actually going to be retreating back through the British lines, and we'll have follow-on charges is what we'll have there. So, but my understanding is these skirmishers are not allowed to fire multiple times at one unit that's moving into their skirmish zone. They get one fire. It's not like a rifled unit can get 3 shots off. You know, one thing is the rifle units would require longer to reload because it had that rifling. So it was not as easy to get the ball to go down deep into the barrel. So, and the skirmisher, another thing is the skirmishers are all firing. They're not firing in unison, but they're firing individually. And so, but with regular reaction fire, that can be occur each time there's an event that would allow reaction fire to occur. So a unit might get multiple reaction fires, but not a skirmisher. In the fact that they're not getting fire multiple times against a unit that's approaching through their fire zone. So, which that makes sense. All right, so I'm going to stop the video here. That really showed cavalry charges. Again, there's a good tutorial or lesson, I guess, on charges that Terry Doherty has done. I suggest you take a look at that. And if you see something that maybe I didn't do correctly there, feel free to point that out because I want to be sure that I'm doing it correctly, and also that those that are watching are aware of how to do the charges correctly. And there wasn't any British cavalry there to do any counter charges, so we didn't have any of that. But we did, I think, have some pretty good examples of charges. I didn't have any follow-up charges, but that was because of the placement of where I designated the charges. And one thing is, I was not aware of, the the follow-up charges could not go further than the charge zone. So, you needed to plan your charge out so that if you were able to get through, or you thought you were going to be able to charge multiple units, that you needed to wait until you got closer before you started the charge. And that also makes sense because, the horses are going to get tired. They just can't go all the way across the map, charging and charging and charging. They've got a limit to how far they can actually go before they just get winded. And they need to recuperate to get a breather. And also the cavalrymen, couldn't be hacking and hacking and hacking. They'd need also rest from the fight. So I think there's a pretty good game here that has a lot of thought in how the combat took place. And so really I'm not seeing any flaws in anything, which tells you that there was a lot of thought put into all of the different mechanics of the game. And I like that. I like that the rule, even the rules. I'm not coming across any errata. Things that need to be fixed. It seems like they did a pretty good job of really going through and editing and making sure that everything worked out the way it should. And that's pretty impressive for a game to turn out without any mistakes. Now, I'm not saying there's not some grammatical errors or a word that may be left out, or something like that, because I think I've seen one or two things there. But in regard to mistakes made that are important to the game, I'm not seeing any. And so I guess the weight that we customers had to endure, I guess, was well worth it. And I was one that verbally was unhappy with the length of time it was taking to, well, not really the length of time, I'd say, but just the lack of information, I guess, is that I felt like Lock and Load should have provided more information and about what the delay was and what was taking place, and you're just kind of left without, any kind of acknowledgement of what's going on. Especially when you've invested, close to $150 in something, and you're just wondering, when, you're going to receive the product, So, but it's well worth the wait. I think now that, I've got the game and I'm playing it and reading through everything, that, I'm getting excited about the next volume, the next game. And I've already made my pledge for the next game, which has to do with Fuentes de Noro, which has not had that many games that cover that battle. 1811, I think. Is that right? 1811? Maybe it's eight. I want to say it's 1811. But maybe I'm off by a couple of years. $1810 maybe. Yeah, 1811. I was right, 1811. And so we got Massenet against Wellington. So and I've kind of been kind of surprised that there hasn't been, more. That's one that Labatai never touched. There's not a Fuentes de Honoro on with Labatai. And so there's very few. Now, Kevin Zucker, I actually have it. It was I think a strategy to see. It was a magazine. It came in a magazine. I don't remember which magazine it was, but I've actually got that. But it's not really. It's more of a operational and not a tactical. So, that really needs to be presented in a tactical like this. And so I'm excited to see what Terry Doherty does with Fuentes de Noro. I think it's like a 3-day event. Took place over 3 days in, I believe, May. So it has some maneuvering on a flank, and the French almost are able to roll up the British. Wellington's able to throw some forces over to stop the flank move that Massena makes with his forces. And it has a lot of some house-to-house fighting in the village there, and so you have bayonet fighting, the close action, cold steel that take place in the village. It go back and forth. The British get pushed back, and then the French get pushed back, and it's just back and forth, back and forth. And so I'm just excited to see what they do with that. And and I'm excited to get further into this and set up the whole campaign, the large Vimero game battle, and to play it out. And of course, this is a what if. There's not a lot of maneuvering here. It's just basically a straight up toe-to-toe fight here is what you have. It's you're not going to be able to really maneuver around someone's flanks because of the map. But it's a good map to really kind of cut your teeth on how to attack with your infantry, how to use your cavalry, setting up your artillery, things like that, and also how to defend and how to use your troops together, your units together, and your skirmishers, how to use the skirmishers, which I need to throw out because pretty much all of the British units can throw out skirmishers. There's a few here or there that can't, but most of them can. And I should have them thrown out because there's such a benefit to have them out there. So, but that takes us to the spot where we're going to stop this video, and we're going to pick up with assaults in the next video. And hopefully you can watch Terry Doherty's training videos, okay, and then watch what I'm doing here, and maybe that'll help all of us in understanding how everything works. And it's a good place to throw in comments about things, and maybe even strategy wise, and how to use the infantry and so forth, the best use. And also, hey, you should have done this, or that was, should have had a reaction fire here, or, if there's something that I'm going through here and saying, well, this is how it's done, and it's not, then, hey, point that out and say, oh, it's done this way. Because I don't want people to watch this video and then they go and play and they're doing it wrong. I want them to do it right. I want to do it right. So it's not only to help myself by doing these videos, because I can look back at them and see things that, hey, I didn't see while I was playing, but also to help people out there that, might be thinking about, hey, is this game for me? Or, hey, I've got this game, but, I don't really, I can't really grasp some of the rules, or, I understand this or that, but, I want to see somebody play it through. I want a little help in understanding how everything, how the mechanics all work. So, that's that's the main reason I do these, is to try to help other people in getting games to their table. So I've got quite a few other things that I need to get out and get going. But also don't forget about, pull out, go find some books or get on the internet and research some information about these battles so that you further understand who was involved, what happened actually, and, the tactics that were involved. And I think you get a better feel for the game. And the game might actually help you with getting a feel for, how things were, command and so forth, and the fighting and the different tactics that each side used in their approach to combat. So check that out. David Gates' book, The Spanish Ulcer. You can find that on Amazon. I believe I got it at Barnes and Nobles, I believe. But you can find it other places. Look up the publisher's website and so forth. So, all right, I'll see you in the next video where we'll pick up right here we left off with the French doing their close combat, the assaults. So, see you next time.